You taking notes?
What? We just need to find the right plan.
Got it! Got what?
In this emotional episode of When Calls the Heart, the story begins with a quiet but powerful decision. Nathan has made up his mind. He is going to ask Elizabeth to marry him. There is no hesitation in his heart anymore. He knows what he feels and he knows what he wants. But even the strongest decisions come with nervous excitement, and Nathan is feeling all of it. He understands that this proposal cannot be rushed. It has to be perfect, thoughtful, and meaningful.
Have I told you lately how impeccable I think you are?
I think LJ wants his dad to feel real.
I wish I could tell him stories about his dad.
Maybe that's an idea.
That is why he starts his day with a very important mission. He needs an engagement ring. Not just any ring, but one that represents love, commitment, and a future together. When he steps into the process of choosing the ring, reality hits him. There is one big problem. He does not know Elizabeth's ring size. It sounds like a small detail, but in this moment, it feels like a huge obstacle standing in his way. If he asks her directly, the surprise will be ruined. If he guesses wrong, the ring may not fit, and that special moment could turn awkward. So Nathan realizes he cannot do this alone. He needs help, and he needs it from someone he can trust completely. This is where the plan begins to take shape. Nathan turns to Charlotte. He approaches her carefully, almost as if he is about to reveal a top-secret mission. His voice carries both hope and nervousness. He tells her that he is planning to ask Elizabeth to marry him, and immediately the weight of his words fills the air. This is not just another conversation. This is about forever. Charlotte understands how serious this is. She sees how much Nathan loves Elizabeth, and she knows how much this proposal means to him. But when Nathan explains what he needs from her, the situation becomes even more interesting. He needs her help to secretly find out Elizabeth's ring size. Not by asking, not by guessing, but by carefully getting one of Elizabeth's rings, tracing it onto a piece of paper, and returning it without Elizabeth ever noticing. It sounds simple when said quickly, but in reality, it feels like a delicate operation. One wrong step, and Elizabeth could discover everything before Nathan is ready. The excitement starts to mix with suspense. Can they really pull this off without her finding out? Charlotte reacts with surprise at first. The idea of secretly borrowing a ring without Elizabeth noticing feels risky. But at the same time, there is something thrilling about being part of such an important moment. Nathan's request is not just about measurements. It is about trust. He is trusting Charlotte with the key to his future happiness. That makes the mission even more important. They begin thinking carefully. Timing will be everything. They need the right moment, when Elizabeth is distracted, when she would not suspect anything unusual. Every small detail matters. How long will the ring be gone? Where does Elizabeth usually keep it? What if she suddenly looks for it? The simple task suddenly feels like a carefully planned operation, filled with quiet tension. As they talk through the plan, you can feel the mixture of emotions building. There is joy, because a proposal is coming. There is nervous energy, because the surprise must stay secret. And there is a deep sense of love driving everything forward. Nathan is not just focused on the ring. He is thinking about the life he wants to build with Elizabeth. The ring is only a symbol, but it carries enormous meaning. It represents stability, family, and a promise that he intends to keep. That is why he refuses to leave anything to chance. He wants every step to be thoughtful. He wants Elizabeth to feel cherished, respected, and completely sure of his love. But even with the plan forming, uncertainty still lingers. What if Elizabeth senses something different in Nathan's behavior? What if Charlotte accidentally says the wrong thing? Secrets are fragile, especially in a close community like Hope Valley, where people notice even the smallest changes. The tension is not loud or dramatic, but it is there beneath every word. Nathan is stepping into one of the most important moments of his life, and everything depends on keeping this surprise alive just a little longer. The mission to discover Elizabeth's ring size may seem small on the surface, but in truth, it is the first step toward a life-changing question that could reshape their future forever. In this powerful episode of When Calls the Heart, Season 13, Episode 10, love is no longer just a feeling hiding between quiet glances and soft smiles. It is turning into something bold, something life-changing, and something that must be handled with extreme care, because one wrong move could ruin the biggest surprise of Elizabeth's life. The morning begins in a way that feels normal on the outside, but underneath, something big is about to happen. Finn arrives with a clear mission in his heart. He is nervous but also determined. This is not just another day. This is the day he decides he is going to ask Elizabeth to marry him. The weight of that decision is heavy. Marriage is not just romance. It is promise, responsibility, and a future that cannot be undone. And Finn knows he must do it the right way. But before he can even think about getting down on one knee, he realizes there is one important thing missing: the ring. Not just any ring, the perfect ring. A ring that represents love, loyalty, and forever. A ring that Elizabeth will look at every single day for the rest of her life. That is not something you choose carelessly. So Finn makes his way to Charlotte. He trusts her. He believes she can help him make this moment perfect. There is excitement in his voice, but also fear. What if the timing is wrong? What if Elizabeth is not ready? What if something unexpected ruins everything? Still, he pushes forward. Because love requires courage. Charlotte is surprised but deeply touched when she hears his plan. She understands how serious this is. This is not gossip. This is not small-town chatter. This is a life-changing decision, and she immediately becomes part of something bigger than herself. Finn explains that he needs one final blessing before moving ahead. He wants everything to feel right. He wants support. He wants unity. That tells us something important about him. He is not rushing blindly. He cares about doing this with respect. Then comes the real challenge. He needs Elizabeth's ring size. At first it sounds simple, but in a small town like Hope Valley, nothing is ever simple. Elizabeth cannot suspect anything. If she does, the surprise will be ruined. And for Finn, the surprise matters. He wants to see the look in her eyes when she realizes what is happening. He wants that pure, unfiltered moment of shock and joy. Charlotte quickly understands the difficulty of the situation. How do you remove a ring from someone's finger without them noticing? How do you trace it on paper without raising suspicion? It feels almost like a secret mission. They even joke about it as Operation Ring Size, but beneath that humor is real pressure. One mistake could expose the entire plan. Now the tone of the episode shifts. It becomes playful on the surface, but full of tension underneath. Every conversation between characters feels layered. Every moment Elizabeth appears, there is suspense. Does she know? Can she sense something is different? Elizabeth is intelligent. She notices details. That makes this mission even more dangerous. Charlotte begins thinking carefully. She cannot just ask Elizabeth directly. That would be too obvious. She needs a plan that feels natural. Maybe during a casual conversation. Maybe during a moment when Elizabeth removes her ring for some reason. The possibilities spin in her mind, but none feel completely safe. Meanwhile, Finn's emotions grow stronger. The closer he gets to making this proposal real, the more vulnerable he becomes. He is stepping into uncertainty. Love always carries risk. What if Elizabeth says no? What if her heart is not fully ready to open again? We remember Elizabeth's past. She has loved deeply before. She has lost deeply before. That kind of pain does not disappear easily. And that is what makes this episode so powerful. It is not just about a ring. It is about healing. It is about second chances. It is about daring to believe that happiness can return even after heartbreak. As Charlotte works on the secret mission, there is a quiet understanding between her and Finn. They are protecting something fragile, something beautiful. The tension builds slowly, but it is constant. Each small step toward getting that ring size feels like moving closer to a cliff's edge. One wrong move and everything falls apart. But there is also excitement. The possibility of joy is stronger than fear. The idea that Elizabeth could soon wear a symbol of a new beginning fills the air with hope. Hope Valley lives up to its name once again. Yet the biggest question remains, is Elizabeth truly ready for this new chapter? Finn believes she is. He believes in them. But belief does not remove uncertainty. And as this plan begins to move forward, we can feel that something unexpected may still stand in their way. Because in Hope Valley, love stories are never simple. And just when everything seems perfectly planned, destiny has a way of testing every heart involved. And this is only the beginning. The plan sounds simple in theory, but in Hope Valley, even the smallest secret feels impossible to hide. As Operation Ring Size quietly begins, Charlotte realizes that getting close to Elizabeth without raising suspicion will require perfect timing. Elizabeth is not careless. She values her routines. She notices details, and lately, she has seemed more thoughtful than usual, almost as if she senses change in the air. That makes this mission even more dangerous. Charlotte tries to act normal, but normal suddenly feels very difficult. Every time she sees Elizabeth's hand, the ring becomes the center of attention. It is no longer just jewelry. It is the key to a future proposal, the key to Finn's courage. the key to a life that could begin very soon. But how do you borrow something so meaningful without explanation? At the same time, Finn is battling his own storm of emotions. Outwardly, he tries to stay calm. He speaks carefully. He smiles when Elizabeth looks his way. But inside, his thoughts are racing. He keeps replaying the moment in his head, how he will ask, where he will stand, what words he will say. He wants it to be perfect, not dramatic, not rushed, just honest and unforgettable. But perfection is dangerous. The more perfect he wants it to be, the more pressure he feels. What if he chooses the wrong ring? What if the size is slightly off? What if something small ruins such a big moment? These questions follow him everywhere. Meanwhile, Elizabeth is living her day without knowing that her entire future might soon change. Yet, there is something in her expression that feels different. She looks reflective, thoughtful, almost as if she is quietly asking herself what she truly wants next in life. She has already walked through deep love and painful loss. Opening her heart again is not a small step. It is a leap of faith. And that is where the emotional tension grows stronger. Charlotte finally sees a possible opportunity, a moment when Elizabeth removes her ring briefly during a normal activity. It is quick, natural, unplanned, but Charlotte must act fast without looking suspicious. Her heart beats faster. This is the chance. But hesitation could ruin everything. She keeps her voice steady. She keeps her hands calm. Every second feels longer than it should. The risk is not just being caught. The risk is breaking trust. If Elizabeth even slightly suspects that something is being hidden from her, it could create doubt, and doubt is the enemy of romance. At the same time, Finn is waiting for news. Waiting is harder than action. He cannot control what is happening. He must trust Charlotte completely. That requires vulnerability. And for a man about to propose, vulnerability feels heavier than ever. But beyond the playful mission, something deeper is happening in this episode. We see how much the people of Hope Valley care about each other. This is not just Finn's story. It is a community story. Love here is not private. It is supported, protected, and celebrated by everyone. That makes the stakes even higher. If this proposal succeeds, it will not only change Elizabeth's life, it will bring joy to the entire town. Yet, just when everything seems to be moving forward smoothly, doubt quietly enters the picture. Finn begins to wonder if he is rushing. He asks himself difficult questions. Is he proposing because the moment feels right, or because he fears losing the chance? Sometimes love pushes us forward, but sometimes fear pushes us faster than we should move. And Finn does not want fear to guide him. He wants certainty. Elizabeth, on the other hand, has her own silent struggle. Even without knowing about the proposal, she senses that something is shifting in her relationship. There are pauses in conversations. There are meaningful looks that last just a little longer. She may not know about the ring, but she can feel change approaching. And this is where the suspense becomes emotional rather than physical. It is no longer just about getting a ring size. It is about timing, emotional timing. Is her heart fully ready? Is his courage steady enough? Is the future aligning for both of them at the same moment? Charlotte finally manages to get what they need. The ring size is secured. The mission, at least on the surface, is a success. But instead of relief, a new kind of tension begins. Now it becomes real. There is no turning back. Finn now holds the final piece needed to make his proposal happen. The ring can be chosen. The question can be asked. The future can be decided. But with every step closer to that moment, the silence between heartbeats grows louder. Because once the question is spoken, everything changes. And the biggest risk is not failure. The biggest risk is hope. Now that the ring size is no longer a mystery, the dream begins to take shape. And that is when the real fear begins. Finn stands at the edge of a life-changing decision. Before, it was just an idea, a private wish in his heart. But now, it is real. The ring will be chosen, the question will be asked. There is no more hiding behind planning or secret missions. The future is moving toward him quickly, and he must decide if he is truly ready to step into it. He walks into the shop with a different energy. This is not about money or beauty. This is about meaning. Every ring he looks at carries a silent question. Is this worthy of her? Is this strong enough to represent everything we have been through? Elizabeth is not someone who needs something flashy. She values depth, honesty, and emotional truth. So the ring must reflect that. Simple, elegant, strong, just like her. But choosing the ring is not easy. With every option placed in front of him, Finn feels the weight of memory. Elizabeth has loved before. She has worn a ring before. That history cannot be erased. It is part of who she is. Finn does not want to replace the past. He wants to build on it. That difference matters, and it makes this moment more serious than he expected. At the same time, Elizabeth begins to sense something deeper shifting in her world. There are small signs. Finn seems thoughtful, a little distracted, a little intense at times. She cannot name it, but she feels it. And when a woman like Elizabeth feels something, it usually means she is closer to the truth than anyone realizes. Her heart is no longer guarded the way it once was. She has slowly allowed hope back into her life. But hope can be frightening, because hope means believing in something you cannot control. It means risking heartbreak again. And even though she trusts Finn, even though she cares deeply for him, the fear of losing happiness again still exists in the quiet corners of her heart. Meanwhile, Finn holds the ring in his hand for the first time. It is small, yet it carries the power to change two lives forever. He imagines the moment, Elizabeth's reaction, her eyes, her smile, or her silence. That possibility lingers longer than he wants to admit. What if she hesitates? What if she needs more time? What if love is there, but readiness is not? The episode slowly builds this emotional tension. There are no loud arguments, no dramatic fights. Instead, the suspense grows through silence, through glances that last too long, through pauses in conversation, through moments where it feels like both of them are standing at the edge of something they cannot fully see yet. Charlotte, who once treated the mission playfully, now understands the seriousness of what is happening. She sees the nervous energy in Finn, she sees the softness in Elizabeth, and she begins to realize that this proposal is not just about romance, it is about timing, perfect timing, because even the strongest love can struggle if the moment is wrong. Finn decides that he cannot wait much longer. The longer he holds the ring, the heavier it feels in his pocket. Doubt grows when action is delayed. He does not want fear to win. He wants courage to lead him forward. But just when he believes he has chosen the perfect time, something unexpected shifts the mood. A conversation between him and Elizabeth becomes more serious than planned. She speaks about the future in a careful way, not rejecting it, not avoiding it, but speaking as someone who has learned that life can change without warning. Her words are gentle, but they carry truth. Finn listens closely, and for a brief moment uncertainty returns. Is she ready for forever? Or is she still protecting herself from the possibility of loss? This is where the episode becomes deeply emotional. The tension is no longer about a secret plan. It is about two hearts standing face to face with their fears. Love is there, that is clear. But love alone is not enough. Trust, readiness, and courage must align at the same time. Finn realizes that proposing is not about creating a perfect surprise. It is about understanding Elizabeth completely. If he asks too soon, he risks overwhelming her. If he waits too long, he risks losing momentum. Finding that balance feels almost impossible. And Elizabeth, without knowing about the ring, begins her own internal journey. She reflects on what happiness means to her now. She reflects on what kind of future she wants. She understands that life will always carry uncertainty, but she also knows that shutting her heart down would mean missing the chance at something beautiful. The question now is no longer, will he propose? The real question becomes, when he does, will both of them be standing in the same emotional place? As the moment approaches, the air between them feels charged. Every look carries unspoken words. Every smile hides nervous thoughts. The ring waits silently, ready to become a symbol of hope, or a reminder of hesitation. And in Hope Valley, when love reaches this level of intensity, nothing ever unfolds exactly as planned.